Hi everyone, I'm Bonita from Pennies to Dollars, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. We talk a lot about living frugally, saving money, cutting expenses, and decluttering things around our home. So today we're going to talk about how you can have more incentives to cut costs around your house. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you don't have enough money and you don't know how to make ends meet. But do you know that that is actually a great way to start being frugal and to be energized to start being frugal? That overwhelmed feeling of not having enough money sometimes helps you to become more creative on how to save money, more innovative on ways that you can save money, and it helps you learn how to substitute things for ways that you have been spending money. Being in too much debt is also another great motivator. That sense of not knowing how you're going to make ends meet helps you figure out new ways to cut costs in your own home and in your own day-to-day life. And not loving your job is also another great motivator to save money. When I am in a job that I either have a bunch of stress, or I'm not loving my job, or I'm not wanting to get up every day to go to work, it makes me not want to spend money. It makes me want to hold on to that money so that I have more options about looking for another job or doing something else with my life other than what I'm doing right now. So even though those things can feel like they're really a negative thing, you can flip them into a positive thing and use them to help your frugal journey. So when you live in the country, which I talk a lot about living in the country because I do, the nearest large city is about an hour, you have to learn to be creative, innovative. You have to learn to substitute a lot of times because you don't have a store right down the street. And being frugal is a lot the same way. You have to learn how to be innovative, creative, and substitute things and find ways to save money. So sometimes you could just pretend you don't live close to a store. Pretend you don't have Amazon. Pretend that you don't have electricity or that you live in the desert. What would you do if these things came up and you needed something? You would improvise, you would get creative, you would come up with other ways to get the same job done. And that's what I'm talking about today. As a child, we have lots of creativity, and as we get older, we learn to conform to society, and we lose a lot of that creativity and that imagination that we used as a child. And so I'm asking you to tap into that now, to come up with ways to help yourself save money and live more frugally. It becomes so easy just on a day-to-day basis to get into bad habits. For instance, we have a storm window and we have another window, and they both should be shut when you're trying to cool your house. But do we get lazy sometimes and just close one window or the other window and not both? Both are a great way to insulate your house if it's extremely hot. So don't forget to close both of those windows when you're trying to keep your house cool. Don't forget to close those drapes. You could even put blankets over your windows if you don't have good curtains. If you have curtains that are sheer and not going to hold out the heat, put a blanket over that window to hold out the heat. It's just ways to get creative and innovative, to cut your costs, to help yourself. So today we are also going to talk about a few little tips and tricks that I have found to save money. If you clean your toilet bowl and you use one of these, I think a lot of people are kind of like dish detergent. They just squirt it in. And has anybody ever actually read the directions? We don't read directions on things anymore. That's another great way to save money. We just pour it in. We just squirt it in. Has there been times that you'd used the whole thing? Has there been times that you've used half of it? Do you know that there's actually 4 portions in this? 4 portions for 4 different toilet bowl cleanings. But I don't think all of us stretch it that far. But I've stopped using this. Even though you can buy a really cheap toilet bowl cleaner scrubber at Dollar Tree for $1.25, I have found that it actually is cheaper to buy one of these Clorox wands. And these little wands hook into, you have your toilet bowl cleaner on it, and you just hook it in and scrub your toilet. And you can store them in here. It actually costs less to use this fancy little mechanism. And I'll link it below if you've never seen it before. My daughter got me hooked on these things. Because if you buy this for $2.99, which is probably a pretty good deal, that is still going to cost you at least 75 cents per cleaning. But how many people divide this into 4? Not very many people. These are going to cost you about 65 cents per cleaning when I link it below. So there are ways to save money. Sometimes just reading the instructions, or looking at a different product, or coming up with a substitution makes a huge difference. Also, buying things in bulk can save you money. Now, not everything in bulk is cheaper, so you have to do your math, but some things are cheaper. And we've started buying our oatmeal in a 25-pound bag, and we have gluten-free flour, which is very expensive, that we've started buying in a 25-pound bag. And we use a vacuum sealer product that seals out the air so that it doesn't go bad, and then seals the top. And you can throw these in your freezer. You can just keep them in the original bag that they came in, the 25-pound bag, and just seal up all the portions. And we found that this has saved us a lot of money. So make sure that you check your portion costs when you buy things in bulk, because sometimes they're not always cheaper. But if you can get a good deal on some items like this, even rice, you can seal it up. You can throw that in your freezer in portion bags. Some of those really cheap items, sometimes they are cheaper per portion. So do your math and maybe think about getting a portion sealer. Now, my husband's is a really old machine. He's had it for a long time, and we still have tons of these bags left. So we've been using it since things have gotten so expensive. We've gone back to using this, and I'll link one like that in the description below if you think it might help your family. But when he is gluten-free and flour costs, oh my gosh, probably $8–9 for this. And we can buy a 25-pound bag for $55. That makes a huge difference. That's a huge savings. This will last us for years. Make a list of cheap things that you can do on the weekend. I found that weekends were my most expensive time in spending money. Make a list of what you can do on the weekend that doesn't cost a lot of money. What hobbies do you have? We have a friend that has a car hobby. And that's great if he can afford that, you know, but he's 72 years old and he's still working a lot. And he's working where he's lifting and bending and doing all kinds of manual labor, because his hobby costs him so much money that he can't afford to retire. I want to retire early. I've talked about this in other videos. I can't wait to retire, have every day my own, have every day be what I want to do, not have it dictated of a time I gotta get up, a time I gotta go to bed, a time I have to eat, what I'm required to do during the day. I feel like so much of my life has been wasted sitting at a desk, working for someone else. I want to be free. So I look at things that I can do to save money now so that I have options to retire younger while I'm still able to enjoy things that I love doing, like walking and hiking and camping. When you get older, you just assume that you're going to be able to do all these things. But I can tell you, even in your 50s, it gets a lot harder to climb in and out of even a camper. So think about what you want to be able to do, and can you save money so that you can have more freedom in the future. And once you see how easy it is to save, how easy it is to cut costs, you will find that savings motivates you. And that's a positive thing. If you use those negative things to motivate you, you'll find in the end that you have been saving money, and savings will then motivate you to save even more. And you'll be able to see more creative ways to cut costs in your day-to-day life that don't impact your quality of life. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please follow my channel, and thank you for watching.